Steve Irwin didn't whisper to animals, he yelled. At them, near them, sometimes on top of them. And the world loved him for it. But when Steve passed away in 2006, the future of his larger-than-life mission suddenly looked shaky. People were left wondering, was this the final chapter for Steve Irwin's wild, unstoppable legacy? Turns out, not even close. Because Robert Irwin, Steve's son, stepped up. And now he's quietly becoming one of the most interesting, determined, and accidentally meme-worthy conservationists of our time. So, who is Robert Irwin? Robert Irwin was born in 2003, which means he was just 3 years old when the world lost Steve. That's barely old enough to form a memory, let alone a full sense of identity. But here's the wild part. He didn't need to remember his dad to become a reflection of him. Robert was raised inside the heartbeat of conservation, Australia Zoo. And this isn't some quaint little petting zoo where kids feed goats. It's more like Jurassic Park if everyone spoke in Aussie accents and was totally chill about handling snakes the length of a kayak. By the time most kids are learning to read, Robert was learning to read animal behavior. He could hold a python with one hand and a mic in the other, and by 10 years old, he was giving full-blown wildlife demonstrations like it was recess. And honestly, he's got that same unstoppable Irwin spirit. That wide-eyed, wholesome, I might hug this deadly animal and mean it kind of confidence. But Robert isn't a carbon copy of his dad. If Steve was the rock star of the bush, all wild gestures and adrenaline and crikes on full volume, Robert's more like a camera-wielding poet of the outback. Still passionate, still fearless, but quieter, more contemplative, more attuned to the beauty of the moment. He's not here to imitate, he's here to carry the mission forward in his own voice, with his own lens, on his own terms. Instead of chasing crocodiles for ratings, Robert chases light and shadow. And that perfect blink and you'll miss it moment when a lion glances over its shoulder like it's auditioning for the cover of Vogue Serengeti Edition. Because Robert Irwin is a legit wildlife photographer. And no, not the here's a selfie with a squirrel kind. We're talking published in National Geographic, winner of multiple international photo competitions, and the subject of full-on gallery exhibitions that make you whisper whoa before you even realize you're doing it. His shots are more than stunning, they're soul punches. Endangered gorillas locking eyes with the lens like they're asking you to understand. Eagles frozen mid-flight like they're sculpted out of motion. Koalas looking somehow wide awake. But for Robert, it's not about curating a highlight reel, it's about creating a connection. He said that photography is a bridge, something that helps people feel emotionally attached to species they might only know as statistics and extinction reports. As he once put it, if people can fall in love with wildlife, they'll want to protect it. So yeah, he's basically out here weaponizing cuteness, light, and precision timing in defense of the planet. And honestly, that's a superpower. You might have seen Robert on Crikey, it's the Irwins, the Animal Planet series that somehow proves the Irwin family could survive an apocalypse, rebuild the ecosystem from scratch, and still have time to shoot it all in cinematic 4K. On the show, Robert does what he does best, wrangling wildlife, giving behind-the-scenes zoo tours, and delivering dad jokes with such sincerity you'd swear Steve was whispering them from the great beyond. But here's the thing. This isn't reality TV in the usual sense. There's no forced drama. No CGI snakes slithering in for ratings. What you see is real conservation work. This includes breeding programs such as endangered species, rehabilitating injured animals, and teaching kids that nature isn't some background wallpaper. It's something worth caring about. And Robert, he's not using the screen to chase fame. He's using it to amplify impact. While most TV teens are trying to go viral or land brand deals, Robert is out here trying to secure a future where koalas aren't something your kids only see in storybooks. This isn't entertainment with animals. It's environmental storytelling with a mission. When the cameras stop rolling, Robert doesn't. This isn't a made-for-TV mission, it's his real life. Behind the scenes, He's a key force in Wildlife Warriors, the conservation foundation Steve and Terry Irwin launched back when eco wasn't a buzzword. It was a calling. And Robert's not just showing up for photo ops. He's actively involved in protecting over 500,000 acres of habitat across Australia. Think about that, 500,000 acres. That's basically a third of Tasmania, except instead of high-rises and highways, it's home to cassowaries, endangered frogs, palm cockatoos, and enough biodiversity to make a rainforest blush. But it's not just land preservation. Robert works on anti-poaching initiatives, animal rescue efforts, and environmental education programs that help the next generation care before it's too late. And yes, the croc wrangling tradition lives on. Because while some people inherit watches or real estate, Robert inherited reptile research trips. Every year, he heads into far north Queensland with scientists and conservationists to tag and track crocodiles in the wild. No stunt crew, no CGI. Just a 21-year-old with a tracking device, a boat, and occasionally, a 15-foot apex predator photo bombing his shot. All in a day's work when your job description is, keep the wild alive. Robert has said the hardest part of carrying the Irwin name isn't the danger. Though, yes, he handles crocodiles the size of canoes. It's not the media pressure either, or the constant need to be on for the cameras. It's something quieter, heavier. It's living up to the spirit of his dad. Because Steve Irwin wasn't just a TV personality in khaki, he was someone who believed deeply that every creature, from apex predator to endangered marsupial, deserved empathy, not spectacle. And when you're raised in the shadow of that kind of passion, the challenge isn't performing, it's honoring. As Robert once told People magazine, I want to make sure that everything I do in a way that would make him proud. So he does. Not by shouting, not by mimicking, but by continuing. Educating, protecting, showing up, especially when no one's watching. And yeah, he still says crikey. Because some things, like love for animals, relentless optimism, and khaki shirts with suspiciously deep pockets, might just run in the blood. Robert Irwin is not Steve 2.0. He's Robert 1.0. So yeah, Robert Irwin didn't have to fill his dad's shoes. He laced up his own boots, picked up a camera, and hit the trail. And somehow, he's making noise by staying grounded. If Steve made us fall in love with wildlife, Robert's making sure we don't forget it. And somehow, that's the most Steve Irwin thing of all. So next time you see a crocodile documentary narrated by a Gen Z Aussie who looks suspiciously like he could tackle a cassowary with kindness, yeah, that's probably Robert. And if you're into stories like this, where legacy turns into real action and conservation actually feels real, maybe stick around. Now, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs, subscribe if you aren't yet, and hit that bell button to turn on notifications. Because we got a bunch of interesting stories that you wouldn't want to miss. And as always, stay curious. Catch you in the next one.